Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Honorable Chancellor Kumar Shekhar Vijendra Sir to please confer upon Honorary Professorship to Dr. Ashok Dalwai ji. It is a matter of huge pride to Shobit University Meerut and Shobit University Gangu. Thank you, sir. On behalf of Shobit University family, I welcome you in Shobit University. Thank you. Now I request Dr. Ashok Dalwai, IAS, Honorary Professor, Shobit University, Meerut, to kindly come forward and address the gathering and for his acceptance speech. Please, sir.
Namaskar to everyone. Yeah, Namaskar to everyone. Honorable Chancellor of Shobit University, respected Kumar Shekhar Vijendraji, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Meerut Shobit University, Dr. Ajay Rana, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Shobit University, Gango, Professor Ranjit Singh Ji, Professor Emeritus Dr. Moni, Shri Rajvardhan, Shri Satyanarayana, Professor Agarwal, and everybody else here, all the distinguished invitees, ladies, and all my colleagues now of the two universities, and the young students and other invitees who are on the virtual mode, and my own classmate and friend for last 50 years, Mr. Sudarshan Satija, who has joined me here. Once again, I offer my salutes and namaskars to you on this auspicious day. Today is Ugadi Day. It's a new year. The university would not have given me a better privilege than inviting me to be with them to confer this honorary professorship on this particular day. I take it that this was a blessing of my parents, the God, Guru, that motivated you or inspired you to choose this particular day. I've always said that the chancellor is too young to be a chancellor. But then, age really does not matter. Experience matters. One can pack 24 days with nothing, or you can pack it with 48 hours of experience. So, as I interact with people from this university, I realize, as you all believe, that he has been able to pack his life with lots of commitment and dedication to the society. The fact that he's been able to take an unconventional path in building the curriculum as also the pedagogy of this university goes to speak a lot about his own personality. And as the vice chancellor read about the history of this university, no one would be left unimpressed that this university has a deep heritage, that way back in 1934, before India became independent, the family elders decided to contribute to the society through the much needed education. So today, I would like to join you in paying my tributes to Babu Dr. Kedarnath, the family elder. And this heritage is invaluable. Years and decades of service in making a change to our surrounding is certainly to be lauded. And it is this kind of service that motivates and inspires others. And always positive vibrations are infectious. That's why, way back in 1911, Sun Yat sen, the chairman of the then Republic of China, who was very keen to promote education, he gave one call to his countrymen: each one teach one. So, this is how we create a chain reaction. We can create a chain reaction of positivity or negativity. We must dedicate ourselves to making a chain of positive reactions. Change is not arithmetic, change is chemistry. We must therefore ensure how the progress can happen in geometric proportion, not just in arithmetic proportion. And it is in this kind of ambience that these universities of yours have been unraveling. I deem it a privilege and honor to become a member of. I'm not too sure whether I am appropriate for this title, but I can tell you that this is a title that I've always aspired for. In fact, I come from a school where they prepare the boys for joining the armed forces. Our Major General is here. I recognize your presence, General. But then, as destiny would have it, I was not able to join, not because I didn't make it through, but because I was considered not medically appropriate. But then I told my father at that point of time that maybe I want to do research and do academics, and that was my first love. But it just so happened, because destiny, I always believe in destiny, that one of our former directors of the college, when he came to our college as a chief guest, he told from the platform that I want boys like Ashok Dalwai to join the Indian Administrative Service. I was just in third year at that point of time. It was more a matter of challenge or excitement that somebody like that dean, who had spent his 20 years of life in London teaching and had come to become our director, thought that I was fit to be joining the civil service, and therefore I took the exam and I got through, as destiny once again destined it to be. So the bus of professorship that I missed way back in 1980s has come to me in 2020s. So always life is a cycle. That's what I strongly believe in. And today, as I stand before you as one of your professors, I am convinced further, and that thought gets concretized, that what you aspire for will never go missing in your life. You need to wish for it strongly. A mere wish should be a daydream, and I'm very good at daydreaming. My classmates know that. But that dreaming has to be supplemented by hard work. And one of the greatest social reformers of our country, born in Karnataka in 12th century, he said, work is worship. In Kannada, he called it as Kayakave Kailasa. If there is Kailasa, it is in our Kayaka. Work is worship. And his name is Basveshwara. So nothing can happen without work. And work never starts on one fine day and never ends on one fine day. It is a continuous cycle. So thank you very much for giving me this privilege and opportunity. It shall be my not just duty but my dharma to do whatever little I can do to progress the vision, the mission, the goals, objectives of these two universities. And under two able vice chancellors, it shall be my privilege to supplement and complement their thoughts in a very humble manner, though. And it's always a pleasure to be interacting with the teachers, with the students in particular. I'm aware that as we interact with the teachers and the students, one gets inspired because they show that you know very little and that there's so much more to know. And so, if there is any kind of arrogance in one, that is dismantled at that point of time. And we always believe in our own philosophy, in our culture, that we need to continuously move from ignorance to knowledge, from darkness to light. And we talk of darkness, it is not what happens at night. When you talk of light, it is not what happens during the daytime, but it is one of knowledge and wisdom. You can be under the brightest of light and still be ignorant. So it is knowledge and wisdom that we can continuously aspire to acquire is what will lead us into true light and true realization. So we shall try and do that together. I am extremely happy that these two universities are community oriented. The meaning of university is universe. It is Vishwa. It is not defined by the boundary walls. It's not defined by the classrooms. It is defined by the ability of the people inside to connect with outside. Only when we are able to have that two-way communication is there the potential for growing continuously. Otherwise, we become islands and there is no diffusion. A university is supposed to diffuse the knowledge and remove the darkness that lies outside. And that can happen provided we are willing to adopt knowledge and science not for the sake of it, but for the sake of delivery. Science, whether it is physical science or social science or any other science, it cannot be for science itself. What India requires today, or the what world requires today, is science for delivery. And when you talk of science for delivery or knowledge for delivery, We need the combination of philosophy along with science to identify what those deliverables are. At this point of time, it would be very appropriate to recall what Einstein said. Albert Einstein, not just a physicist, but a metaphysics person, somebody who tried to look beyond what was tangible, what was what was simply could be touched. He said that a person or a scientist without philosophy is blind. A scientist without philosophy is blind, and a philosopher without science is lame. It is only philosophy of life that can enable us to see rightly, to see the right person who is in need of help, to see the right section of the society that is crying for attention, that component of our ecology that is asking for repair and amelioration, and various other things are asking for remediation. And likewise, we see everything rightly, but we don't have science, then we'll not be able to find answers. The solutions lie in science, because science means investigation, science means putting things together. So, philosophy and science have to go together. But I would also like to say at this juncture that confining ourselves to science may not be adequate. As they say in economics, something is a necessary condition but not a sufficient condition. Science is a necessary condition for the good of the society, but it becomes sufficient when we're able to translate science into technology. In that sense, somehow India, through the ages, I may be wrong, has focused more on science and philosophy. It has been very inquisitive. It has been wanting to unravel the mystery of this universe. But then, how to translate that into technology to make the life of the society more easy has not been truly our strength. So, today, we need to see how we are able to focus on technology so that the full potential of science is unraveled in service of the society, not just for India but outside India. And when I talk about outside India, we must remember Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, who always talked about breaking the fragments that divide our society in the name of nations, in the name of states and other kinds of political constructs. He always talked about what is called Vishwamanava. There's another great philosopher and writer from Karnataka, a Jnanapith Award winner, Kuvempu, a great writer. He also talked about Vishwamanava. So, Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore and this great writer Kuvempu, both of them always looked at Indians becoming global citizens. And this is what the government today and Honorable Prime Minister are talking about, that how India can become the Vishwa Guru in the 21st century. So it is not that this particular philosophy has suddenly arisen. India is deep in its rich heritage with its rich philosophy. And it's from that particular philosophy of millions of years that today government is talking or India is talking of becoming a Vishwa Guru. And to make our young students, to make our general citizens commit themselves to becoming global citizens, to making India a Vishwa Guru, it is education that is a tool. Mahatma Gandhi said, education is a double edged sword. Either you can use it to make life easy for the people, or to use it to cut somebody's pocket and become a criminal. Here, once again, the social norms that will be born from philosophy will teach our students how to use education for the good of the society. The new education policy is precisely talking of these things. The new education policy 2020 is now talking about creating an environment where the students would be global in their outlook, but rooted in Indian values. That means we must be proud to be Indians. We must be proud of our rich past. And simultaneously, we must be futuristic to make India a leader of the world, not in terms of materialism alone, but in terms of thought process, in terms of morality, in terms of ethics. So, new education policy is something that we must all try to inculcate and understand. So, some of the important aspects of the new education policy. The first one, that we shall focus now on universalization of education. That means we shall see how education will be accessible to everybody. It will enable participation for everybody, and it will help the people to realize their full potential. So, in terms of universalization, it is talking about ensuring that every child which is supposed to be in school will be in school by 2030. And the schooling means up to class 10, that is the the secondary school, from class the lower level, that is the kindergarten, to the class 10th. And at the higher level, it is talking about at least 50% of the children are in the higher education by 2035. Along with this universalization, it is talking about a restructured pedagogy and content. That's very important. And here comes the role of universities like Shobit. I'm happy that Shobit University is already a multidisciplinary university. You have faculties and schools in law, in education, in engineering, in philosophy, and agriculture engineering, business management, and so on. When you have these kind of multiple schools on the same campus or under the same umbrella, the important objective of the new education policy of restructuring the pedagogy and the content will be fulfilled, because he's now talking about multidisciplinarity in the curriculum. The student need not be confined to his primary domain. A student of engineering must also be allowed to study psychology, must be allowed to study sociology. If he wants to, or she wants to learn music, so should be the opportunity for her to pick up music, art, painting, and so on. Because man is not just an engineering tool, he's not just a mechanical body. Man is a social animal. Man, according to anthropology, is a tool making animal. According to economics, he is a rationally thinking animal. So every discipline defines man in its own way, but man is truly everything. So when we have a multidisciplinary approach, then we will be giving an opportunity to the students to study anything that they are interested in. So the new education policy is talking about that. And a third most important thing which we should be focusing on, and that NEP talks about, is vocationalization. Because in India, education has been hierarchical. It has been hierarchical the way our society has been. We need to break those feudal systems. We need to create horizontal society. Today, when you talk of hierarchy, somebody who is a diploma is not as respected as somebody who is a graduate. Somebody who has done a certificate course is not respected the way a postgraduate is respected. But what now new education policy is talking about is to occasionalize the system and allow multiple entries and multiple exits. That means a student can join an engineering college but prefer to exit at the end of 1 year with a certificate, exit at the end of second year with a diploma, and opt to come back to complete his or her degree program later on. So, likewise in agriculture, medicine, anything and everywhere. So, when you have these multiple entry and exit points, enabling the student to pursue his or her educational career the way it is appropriate for him or her, then we would have broken down that hierarchy. Today in Europe, for example, somebody with a tool making, a die making certificate is much more required, much more wanted, much more desired in the society than somebody who has done a doctorate. That is the story one in United States of America. But in our country, where we have that feudal attitude, that I think if I have joined a college or if I am a professor, my son must do post graduation. If I'm a doctor, he must do something like that, not according to the inclination or the proclivity of a particular youngster. So I think the new education policy is now talking about breaking down these hierarchies, the attitude, and create that new environment, a liberalized system of education. So let us try and do this in the university. And fourth, it is talking about globalization. That when we talk of globalization, how we can set up our own universities outside the country, how Shobit can become a university in other countries, how professors from there can come and teach here, how students can from here go and do part of the studies in another university, how research projects can be partnered together, how academics can be partnered together. So when this kind of globalization starts happening, when the boundaries get melted down, then our students will get more exposed, more confident, then they become truly global in their outlook. So that is extremely important. And the fifth, which I must bring to your attention, is that how we can make this higher educational institute into a multidisciplinary research university. That means it is a research oriented university, not just pure and academic oriented university. Because today our universities must become strong, healthy in terms of academics, in terms of research, and in terms of community service. So these three things are extremely important. When you have these three things are equal goals, academics, research, and community service, then we produce students or citizens who are relevant to the society for today and tomorrow. So the new education policy is also talking about this particular aspect of creating capable centers with research as their focus. So I'm sure that Shobit universities can also aim at strengthening the research faculties. So there are many other aspects that the new education policy is talking about. But I thought that these are very important. Apart from, of course, enabling multiple languages, India is a microcosm of the whole universe. I'm sorry, world. It is home to every religion, home to every language, home to every culture, home to every kind of soil, home to every kind of climate. It is home to anything and everything, including cuisines. So India can be true representative of the world on earth, and therefore aspiring to become a Vishwa Guru is not really a far-fetched idea, nor is it a daydream, but it is something that is tangible, that can be done. But all of that is possible if all of us work together for the nation, and each of us is committed to contributing in our own little way towards that larger goal of making India as one of the best nations in the community of nations across the world. So I would like to thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, this privilege of being with you this evening, and more importantly, welcoming me into your family. I deem it really an honor and a privilege that you have given me, and it shall be, as I said, my dharma to do whatever little I can do to take the vision and mission of your universities. I would like to assure both the vice chancellors and, of course, the chancellor that I am there with you, and we shall do it together. Because I strongly believe that collective intelligence is most important than individual intelligence. It is the collective strength that is stronger than individual strength. However, even if somebody is an Samson or an Atlas. Lastly, let me tell you that ultimately our alumni will be our ambassadors. John F. Kennedy, who said in 1962, the success of any university can be judged by the performance of its alumni. So the way alumni conduct themselves will reflect on the teachers and the universities. We want every student who passes out of these universities to look back with love and affection and recall his or her teacher. It is the teacher who makes the life. And Though I am referring to everybody as a teacher, I know that there is a distinction between being a teacher and a professor, but that is, that is, I think, not really very important. Ultimately, everybody is a teacher, but we want our teachers to become gurus and acharyas, as Hindu philosophy asks for. That means you become not just somebody who gives inputs, but become somebody, a mentor, a guide, friend, philosopher. That's what is important. But jocularly, I know a professor is supposed to be an absent-minded person. Okay, so yes, absent-minded because we're supposed to be so drowned in deep thoughts of thinking, of philosophy, academics, research, and therefore become blinded to the happenings around us. So ultimately, the professors here must become absent-minded professor in that positive sense. So thank you very much, and I hope to become an absent-minded professor along with you. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir. It is a matter of